Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gracefall, episode 15, UnCORCed. Last time, the crew, thank you, Jay, for subscribing for 39 months. That's almost a year.
Almost.
Last time, the crew of Dropjammer 3 recovered from the Eldritch magical pulse that emanated from the piece of residuum clanking against the crystal, the negative crystal from the Dropjammer engine, and eventually drained a mithril tree that had absorbed all of that negative energy. Wynne using that to restore the swamp and magically enforce it, making it even more powerful than before, the swamp, making it the plants stronger. In addition, folks gathered up mithril from the tree. It's a big tree called the Ironbark. Gathered mithril, some of it infused with necromantic energy, which the players got some new magic items from. Wynne was able to get some armor forged. Issa made a bunch of bullets. Clangley new gauntlet pieces for his punches. And Claire has a new magical wand. We left the crew leaving that area and heading back to main base camp. We'll say you all had enough time during the rest and such to build the armor, to build your magical items before you return to camp, so that you have them for what's about to happen.
Oh, good.
Yay.
Don't like that wording.
As you approach camp, there seems to be panic in the air. Not necessarily like everything's on fire panic, but like mass confusion, hysteria in the streets.
Dogs and cats living together.
One might say. Here in trouble right here in New Spice City.
It's carrying on. I feel like every time we leave for 5 seconds, some new disaster happens.
As you approach, you can see, in addition to the people, the normal humanoids panicking, there's a cavalcade of corks just kind of milling about the streets. They go, every time they kind of, someone's running by them, panic, they're like, hello, you're leaving, goodbye. Oh, hello, and like talking to another cork. Occasionally they like tap and like it's starting to create like residuum fields, like almost like a bubble force field around them when a bunch of them get too close together and like shock touch. The 4 corks you have with you go, that looks like fun, and start to walk or float towards all of them.
No.
Is this not okay?
It seems to be causing a bit of a problem there, Cork.
How do I explain the concept of finite space to you as an infinite being?
I don't know. The planet's always been big enough for everyone.
Okay, but you seem to be replicating at a rate which we cannot seem to predict very quickly. Are you going to do that infinitely? Is there an upper limit to how many corks there can be?
They all look at each other, and then they look back at you, and they shrug. This has never happened to us before. We were born almost literally yesterday.
I was going to say that's a reasonable statement.
Just for the record, how many corks are there?
So there's the
You guys...
4 with you. And you can see at least half a dozen more just in your immediate vicinity.
Is it time to start herding cats?
I don't know. They seem to be causing a lot of static when they get together.
I don't know exactly what to do, to be honest. Feel
Maybe... like how far apart do the corks have to be before they start, like, getting all staticky with each other?
It seems like they get really staticky when they come in contact with each other. If there's
Okay.
Well, that sort of happens when your quirks touched. They would create little like bursts, but you think because there's so many of them now that when even just 2 are touching, it's like amplified.
Oh dear, it's an exponential thing.
We can herd the corks together in like little groups.
Okay, you see, that would create the same thing happening. It would like, oh dear.
Well, if you can.
Wait, yeah, I was thinking of more of like taking like 3 groups of cork, one group of 3 corks, and then placing them like a safe distance from another group and from another group, and just like have the groups in the corks in like a surrounding area, but in like lines of 3.
Yeah. If you think you can get the corks to social distance, that would probably be good.
Yeah, like those concerts.
Yes, I didn't mean for this to be like that, but it is.
We're gonna get the corks to social distance.
It's not a metaphor.
Better than my idea, which was to take the quirks and put this in this beryllium half shell with the screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone else is going to get a demon core joke, but there you go.
Oh, I think Galaxy Quest might also have beryllium cores.
Claire has knelt down and has tied the 4 corporeal corks, or the 3 that we have and the one that's not floating, together. She orders the one that's floating to stay.
Okay.
And touch.
Sorry, you want them to stay, and what was that last part?
Stay and don't touch each other.
Don't touch. Okay. I thought you said touch, and I was like, is Claire running another experiment? That's fine, but I just want to be on the same page.
No, she's saying don't touch each other.
Okay.
And she turns to the rest of the group and says, I think we should take them to Fredonia. We need to get them away from the civilians.
That's a good point, Claire. Yeah, and I guess Wynne will start trying to at least tell the corks where to go and tell them to pass it along.
She also sections off rope to everybody else in the party, just like, if you can't get them to stick together.
It's like herding toddlers at an amusement park.
I live in Texas. I've been to a couple of rodeos. I know how this works.
A good chunk of corks with the backpacks with the leashes on them.
Yeah, we just daisy chain them together.
Oh, I can't go any further.
Fredonia.
I don't want. Just you're dragging one of them like a cat. Okay. So you start wrangling corks.
Claire is also refusing to answer anybody's questions.
Several people have come up to ask. But you have taken, the group has taken charge and disperse as they attempt to do that. The other thing you noticed is there is a blackout in Crater Valley, in New Spice City. It seems like they can't get the generators to function with all of these corks around.
Good.
Yeah, we're taking him to Fredonia.
Good.
Okay, so you start trying to wrangle them up. As before, these quirks are made of various things. So you have cloud cork, chum cork, mud cork, and office supply cork. Those are the classic corks.
Collect them all.
And then, kind of just variations on that. One of them is made of spider legs. From
spider cork.
Double spiders.
Double spider legs.
Cork.
Yeah. So it's
Cork
just
arachnid.
6 spider legs kind of assembled into roughly a person shaped. But then a lot of that, otherwise it's swamp or mud or, plant life, rocks. Yeah.
Basically.
And they all sort of have that shimmery residuum glow. If you tell folks what to do, they will listen, for the most part. You seem to have taken charge of the situation. Commander Crawford appears with a gun, and she says, "You can't shoot him."
No.
I can't believe you would think of even trying that.
They're mostly hollow, ma'am.
Found that out.
Well, my only other suggestion would be to use. No, we can't do that. That would be very cruel. What?
Cora, ready a fireball.
We're not. I wasn't going to suggest fireball. I was going to say
Not inside the camp. You're right, Clangley.
we do have. No, because that would create another bomb. Never mind. Just what exactly is cork made of? I don't understand.
Another
Energy.
bomb?
Don't
Okay,
worry
cork's made
about
of
it.
energy. So how do we consolidate that energy?
Claire intends to find that out.
We need to make all the corks into one cork, if it's humanly possible.
Okay.
If it's Warforged to be possible.
There you go. It works.
I was thinking, do the corks
Sorry,
share
if
a
it's
memory?
humanly possible.
So, no.
So they're not like a hive mind cork?
No, no. They can kind of tap into like the landscape around them a little bit. But they mostly know stuff from where they're from. But yeah, no, because every time they see another one, they're like very excited that they can see another cork.
Okay.
But to start wrangling. Yeah. That's probably fine. So, can I get... What is a cork wrangling check? I don't even know. Charisma or wisdom checks? I don't think anyone is good at either of those, except for Wynne.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I still at 2 levels of exhaustion?
No, you have... No, that was cured.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I got a nat 1, so no.
Can I make it a persuasion check?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. That's 21.
Excellent.
Just straight wisdom is 19.
Excellence.
16.
Okay. So Clangley's probably a little distracted by trying to more prioritize his workers, making sure they're well, because they're all panicking a little bit, because who knows what happens if a Warforged is touched by them. So kind of that one I'm going to say is not that Clangley is, he's just focused on another thing. But with everyone else's,
I understand. I got the ADHD as well.
I think it's just different priorities, especially because everybody else got 15 plus, so they can start to handle all the quirks and getting them all spread out into the field, kind of sending them in small groups, every minute or so they're spread out towards Fredonia. Occasionally, it's like a herding mission in any video game. One group starts to go, and you're like, no. Okay, we got it. But you all get them towards Fredonia. But Clangley, a bunch of the Warforged are basically mobbing you with like questions like, one of them touched me. Is that bad? What happens?
Fine, just don't, for the time being, just stay away from them. They're very friendly. They're just multiplying a lot, unfortunately.
Somehow.
Yeah. Okay. So, you all head over to Fredonia.
Red Vondra, your entertaining company.
We try to use one of the buildings. We haven't dismantled to like keep them all cordoned off.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
These will be the cork bunks.
Vondra like steps out, kind of pauses for a moment. She says, "I guess I'll make hors d'oeuvres." Kind of goes back, and her and Fred come out with, they've made, Fred's like, "I made chili." Vondra's got a big punch bowl. She's just like, do they eat? I don't even know.
I don't think they eat.
No, not really.
One of the corks, to be polite, puts their hand in the chili and kind of puts it up to their mouth, and then the chili is sort of subsumed into their being.
Well, they're trying.
Yeah.
Got a 0.1% chili cork.
Yum.
Oh god, are we gonna get bean cork soon?
This is like military rations chili. It's not good.
About 2
MRE
hours.
cork.
This is gas cork. Don't worry about where he came from.
So now that you're all here, you can see there's roughly 24 corks.
That is so many.
It's about 23 more than there were yesterday.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Can Claire do an Arcana check to see if she can figure out how these things all split apart?
Sure. Yeah.
And possibly start to glean how she can put them all back together? Right.
I help action that.
You can. So you can roll with advantage, Claire.
Awesome. 18.
18? Okay. So, cork is a new form of life. So how they do and do not work is up for much study. You think, probably, being caught in that negative energy wave split them apart. Whereas how they can get put back together, I don't suggest a positive energy wave. But
what Claire is dinking
Sure.
is essentially a similar process to how a copy of her soul ended up in her mechanic body. So she's wondering if she could find a way to like get all of these corks together and then just put them in a new construct.
I think Claire is uniquely qualified to do that, in fact.
He is.
The one thing she's really good at.
Putting souls in robots.
Issabel's idea was a giant hydraulic press.
Oh boy. I like Claire's idea a little better, if I'm being honest.
Same.
Just a garbage
just
compactor.
like looks up from the notes of it, just like, oh, your idea is much, much better.
So Claire actually started gathering the clay in the last episode for this specific purpose. What she wants to do is essentially build a construct body that's very similar to the one that she's operating now. And what's so unique about the one that she's operating now is it is specifically designed to house her soul. So she wants to create something similar to that to house Quark. And hopefully, if something like this were to accidentally happen again, or something were to split them apart again, they'd have a little bit more resistance to that.
Okay, yeah. CC, no.
Oh no.
DC, yes.
Okay. So you start to gather clay, and what other supplies would you need?
Probably scrap metal.
Okay. Plenty
stuff
of that.
That's super conductive. Probably some necromantic spell components.
Okay.
And several days to essentially carve this thing out.
Can I help with that the mechanical parts? Given that I am also good at that type of thing.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Claire will just wordlessly like scooch over a set of papers that appear to be like schematics for Claire's original skeleton. There are a couple of things that are like blacked out as if they were redacted. She's like, you can use this as a template.
These are kind of personal. You sure you're okay showing them to me?
It's just my skeleton.
Yeah.
Everything you don't need to know has been redacted.
Okay. Whatever. And Clangley will start working on them.
Okay.
Should I roll for that?
Because you all explicitly, Claire said, taking days. I'm not going to make anybody roll. You have plenty of time. There's no, well, not necessarily no stress. There is no time constraint to this. If you were all like, I'm doing this in 2 hours, I'd be like, you all are rolling and the DC's 25. But if the intended purpose is to take as long as necessary, you all can do this. Because if you mess up, you just take a breath and start over. During this time, I will also say this is when your magic items were created, the ones that you have. During any downtime, the engineering corps, the blacksmiths that work at the camp could have completed, or Issa, if she wanted to, could have completed these items. And I already said what they were for reference earlier. I just have to go through them again, but we don't need to. Okay. So that's what Clangley and Claire are doing. Wynne.
I think Wynne is trying to keep the corks calm and not touching each other, and just trying to figure out, get as much information as possible before they all get smushed into a body together.
No, don't touch each other. You'll go blind.
Also, how are the corks feeling about getting pushed into a body altogether?
They say... How do I do this? They say, how, what? No, they say, all experiences are new for us. You say we were split apart, then it will be an experience to be put back together.
Okay. And everybody's cool with that? Nobody wants to be a cork on their own, that kind of thing?
We've never been alone. There's always many voices at once. We will be rejoining the chorus of voices.
Oh, sweet.
That is why it is nice to see other corks. Now we can talk.
Oh. Okay. What do the corks talk about?
It is like so banal. It's, I mean, it is occasionally like the very, like, kind of aptly, since it is 420, stoner questions of like, what is life? And, you know, just, but it is occasionally very deep, cutting philosophical questions. But a lot of times it is like, you are made of mud. I am now part chili. We are now part chili. And all the other corks nod, like that is some profound statement. Like, yes. Chili has entered the universe. You have blended beans and tomatoes and beef to make chili. And are we not all a combination of things like beans and tomatoes and beefs? Yes. We are all chili.
A delicious dirt, stick, mud, and leaf chili.
Are you
That's
not?
my Discord status now.
Sure is a cool and makes sense thing that is happening right now. Cool thing that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so Wynne is cork wrangling.
R/beans and things.
And Issa, what would you like to do?
Probably taking, well, first of all, having to probably help around any sort of repairs around the camp, because all the corks probably shorted some things out. And then kind of taking the opportunity to just make sure Fred and Vondra have been doing alright. Maybe making sure that, like, what is remaining of Fredonia is a little less ramshackle than when we found it.
Okay. Fred seems to be doing better. Vondra confirms is better. His leg is healing well. He's getting around, still with the wheelchair, but he can use crutches or a cane as well, but only for a little bit, and then he's back in the wheelchair. But they've tried to start to make things, a little homier around here as well. At some point over the next couple of days, Commander Crawford finds you going back and forth and says, I I'm not going to ask about some things. We can talk about that later. More pressing issues. Do we have any update on the Silver Shackles? Because it's getting close to that moon being full again.
Ooh.
Who would Issabel have assigned to that task?
Let's see.
Hopefully somebody who doesn't turn into a werewolf.
Well, none of the engineering corps are human, actually, so...
Fred's got silver in his name. It's Fred Silvermall. Yeah, he's the dwarf. That wouldn't help.
He's a little bit... He and Vonder are a little busy right now.
Sorry, So Yinsen Tallstep and Tavier the Eladrin would probably be good folks to have assigned that. Although Tavier is a little... they're not necessarily known for their quick work. They are a very skilled smith. Though. They just kind of have the long view on things of... What do you mean it can't take a year? Do you want it done right?
It's done when it's done and not earlier.
But the inlay... Fine. I'm not putting my name on sloppy craftsmanship.
Well, then that's why Ensign is also working with you.
I'll put my name on sloppy craftsmanship.
Bingo.
Why work harder when you can work as little as possible? I'm not getting above a 2 on my yearly review. Nobody is. Come on. They expect the bare minimum. You do the bare minimum. I don't know how I was selected to come here. It's a question I ask myself often.
Well, I mean, you kind of did have to volunteer, so...
I did. It was this or debtor's prison. So...
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty easy choice.
Yeah. But... I did the silver manacles for you, boss.
Wonderful. How many do we need?
6. Oh, pairs? Oh, I didn't do that. I made 6 individual cuffs. No, I believe it is 6. I only have 5 listed.
And I imagine that just...
That's fine.
Asa just took Commander Crawford to the engineering tent to go get this update, so it's just like... How are the manacles coming? I don't know. Let's find out.
She takes the manacles. She says, and if stuff could just stop going wrong for 20 minutes, maybe we can figure out something other than locking up crew members.
It would be nice. It would be nice.
From your lips to Evangeline's ears. Come on, lady. Pull it together, Crawford. She goes off. She comes back. Have you seen my scribe?
I have not seen Cora since we got back to camp, no.
Note to self. Find Cora. Walks off.
We might have some spare backpacks with leashes on them if you need them.
Oh, boy. Didn't know I was signing up to be a kindergarten teacher. That's a dwarvish word. I gotta go. As the full moon approaches, those of you who are back and forth to camp, mood's not great. It's been a full month, and some people probably thought you all would have made more progress, just from a mission point of view. Many other people who are more realistic thought, why would This is new and hard. The werewolf thing's weird, but
Sometimes you wake up and there's just giant double spiders out of your window.
Yeah, those aren't helping the progress.
number of days since a double spider has been spotted. 2. Well, it's 2, which is good. There's that hermit bear there that keeps like circling camp. Okay. On the eve of the full moon, you all are done your preparations, and you can prepare to put the chorus of corks, the cavalcade, back into essentially a clay golem body. So I'm going to let Claire take the lead. Claire.
So essentially, it's not as much as a clay golem as it is a ceramic golem. Mm-hmm. So she's done similarly what she did with her body, which is essentially just sculpted this kind of outer shell with. So she sculpted this, she fired them, and she etched necromantic runes into the casing. Not as much of a spell book as it is kind of in her case, but rather reinforcement runes, things that are going to hold it together. And she has the original necromantic spell process that she used to split her soul in half. Or not split her soul, but like split Control-C, Control-V her soul and channel it into this body, as is now more of like a zip file. You take all of these, you compress them, and you send it into the and then you send it into the construct body.
So you can email your soul. You're zipping things to email your soul.
So yeah, and she just kind of shows up to Fredonia one day with kind of this entire process just figured out. She lets absolutely nobody see it. She just walks in with like this big old journal, slams it down, and anytime you try to like look at it, she's like, that. No. And then it is just like, when it finally comes time to like get all of the corks into the one construct cork, it is straight up a mad scientist setup. Like cliche, like the construct is lying on the table, there's like an open roof and the full moon is shining down. If there were indescribable lightning is like happening. She's got like all of the like necromantic like straight up Full Metal Alchemist runes all over the floor, and like the corks are all off to the side, and she's like and she like has the spell book open, and it is a long process. It is essentially like a ritual that she just spends like chanting, fiddling with spell components, chanting some more, fiddling with spell components. And then, like, it's actual, like, somatic motions to compress all of the corks and then direct them into the construct body. And then more chanting.
I know he's just kind of there, like, yes.
And the whole time she is like pulsing with necromantic energy in a way that is almost kind of like a heartbeat, like a bum, 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 and like at the apex of spells, it starts to get faster. It is full affront to God.
Queen Zap Zaps has appeared on the edge of the camp to provide the lightning.
Yes!
Everyone is here. Okay. You probably shouldn't be here. Go back to camp and save her.
Okay. How does everyone else feel about this?
Hey, look, if it solves the problem, it solves the problem, is my view.
Wynne is a little concerned.
Understandably.
I mean, I've heard about similar processes before, but that's never quite been my area of expertise, so seeing it happen in person is actually pretty fascinating and interesting, but I have other work to do, there's other things to be done.
I'm discomforted, but ultimately the necessity of the situation and whatnot.
The vibes are positively rancid.
Also a
Claire
wizard and
is...
interested, but also, I'm good.
Okay. One by one, the corks kind of get sucked, for lack of a better term. Like, I'm picturing a very Ghostbusters effect. Just one by one into this ceramic Warforged golem body. And as each one does, the extremities start to move. The eyes flicker on and off. And finally, the office supply cork, the last one, gets absorbed, and kind of a big surge of crackling purple energy surrounds the new cork body, and then it just lays stock still before sitting up and saying, "This is a very new feeling. We have substance."
Is it a good feeling?
They say, "We don't know. We feel as though we can break. Do you all feel this all the time?"
Uh, yeah, I mean, kinda.
Sits up as best they can from the table, swings their legs around, and tries to like jump off the table, and kind of hits the ground and almost immediately falls to their knees. Like they're not used to having mass. They're used to just being these floating ethereal residuum fields. Kind of stand up again, toddle for a second, and look, and they look at all of you, and they just say, "Life is finite, but like this, you could also live forever, tethered to body, from body to body. Is this what you all want?"
Claire is going to come in and like weirdly fast, and is going to start doing essentially like a physical examination. Like I'd run a diagnostics test of just like, all right, hold up your hand, flex your pinky ring, and just like go through all of the, just to check mobility and response. She pulls out like her wand and holds it up, has a little bit of light come, and like looks in their eye holes.
I'm not giving you a reflex test to avoid you giving me another existential crisis.
Open.
See, like, their
Yeah, just
vocoder
before they-
buzzing.
Before they could say anything else.
Okay. Quirk is occupied with that for a while. Fred comes over to you, Issa, and says, so she owns the patent to that, right? Is that what we talked about? I'm just trying to figure out how this works.
Your guess is as good as mine, buddy.
For how the body works, because it's unique to how other Warforged work, yes. But because of the Automaton Rights Act, the body itself belongs to its occupant, so that belongs to Cork.
Oh, yeah, no, I just meant the process.
The process, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Clara's gonna, like, without looking away from Cork, point her wand at Fred and says, nobody else knows about this.
Knows
And,
about
like,
what?
she says it.
Not gonna go.
She puts her wand away.
Wheels very quickly away. Okay.
Right back.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fidget thing that makes noise. Okay.
That.
Cork seems to be functioning within parameters. Claire? They mostly seem confused and will occasionally ask questions, but it sounds like you're kind of shooing them past the questions. No, these are more important kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. It is, as established, the full moon. You can hear from camp howls, but there seems to be no accompanying screaming.
Oh.
The silver shackles seem to be doing their appropriate job.
Good.
What would y'all like to do?
So, I'm sorry. I'm not entirely sure if I understand what just happened.
Claire created a person at a cork.
Okay, cool. All right. We good then. It's fine. It's cool.
Basically consolidated Cork into a singular being and then gave them a shell.
So, is there a risk of Cork, like, becoming some kind of, like, ultra-powerful being? All the consciousnesses combined into one.
I mean, they're all really sentient already, so.
That's true. They are. I mean.
You can make an Arcana check if you would like, Clangley.
Okie dokie. Sorry, my dad's watching the Raptors game outside in the other room. It's I'm hearing it like just over my. It's like a little distracting, I won't lie, but I got a 17.
Okay. You think, given the nature of Cork, the opposite is probably true. That doing this to them probably stopped them from becoming some sort of omnipotent eldritch god horror.
I guess we reversed Dr. Manhattan him.
Yeah, kinda. I mean...
We do not need this to turn into the end of a Kirby game, thank you.
Oh my god. I love how that was... You're right. Like, you're right, but still...
So it didn't hurt them, but it probably put limitations on their ability to absorb things. which again, yeah, as when it's a reverse Dr. Manhattan. They, even more than before, are just staring at their hands. Kind of flexing them up occasionally.
I think Wynne would try to best answer any of Cork's questions if Claire isn't.
Are you enjoying existing, Cork?
Every moment is panic-inducing.
Welcome to existence, Cork.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Why are you here?
Well, I'm here to make notes on nature and observe plant life I hadn't seen before.
Is that why you are all here?
No, everyone has a different story. If you want, you could go, right, maybe tomorrow morning, but, you can go meet them and they'll tell you.
I'm gonna studs turkle this. They say, things were different before you all came.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, they have no follow-up to that. They say, I have this feeling where I want to stop doing things and just sit. Is that normal?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I think I will go sit then.
You go take your time. You think about things.
Have a good sit.
Gonna go and again sit like a toddler, like where their legs just kind of fall out from under them and they hit the ground pretty hard because much bigger than a toddler. I'm okay. And they basically power down. They're taking a nap.
They're so cute when they're sleeping.
Is there a Warforged equivalent to a birthday cake that we can make for them? Because, like, maybe it's... We didn't really force existence on them.
I believe it's called a firmware update. But I don't know if this particular... There's no firmware.
You don't eat, so we can't go with the traditional cake. I don't know, I just feel like we should cheer them up somehow. Having to grapple with the physical realities of existence is a new experience to them, and yeah. They don't appear to be taking it perfectly in stride. Oh, there's one.
Oh.
It was quite a while.
It was. Oh. There we go. Okay, and we're back. Okay. Please continue to your discussion.
Oh, so you were asking how we should cheer up Cork? Because I guess we can like maybe gather some. Like maybe you can make like a little metal necklace for them. Be like happy birthday, Cork.
Not a terrible idea. I don't know. For them, if I would go with metal, perhaps something stone. Or maybe nice wood burning with a good finish to it. Something more natural for them.
Wood
Made it.
paneling would be quite nice, but I don't know if it would clash with the ceramic.
Wynne will send over Roly Poly so that they can be together when Cork wakes up.
Okay. The night. Do you all stay here in Fredonia, or does anyone go back to camp?
We should probably check on the camp, make sure no one's died.
Issabel probably has responsibilities at the camp tonight.
Okay. Fire. Everything's on fire. No. Everybody's a werewolf.
Again?
You go, and as you do, you pass by kind of the logical entrance to the camp from where you are would pass you by where they said they were going to lock up the werewolves. So if you would like, you can purposefully avoid that route and go a different way, or go by them.
I mean, Wynn's going along if Issa wants to go there.
Not purposefully avoiding it, but not intentionally visiting it either.
Right. Okay. So,
like, if while walking past it, someone that there yells at us for our attention, they'll get it, but we're not gonna linger.
Indeed, as you pass one of the werewolves, it is hard to tell who was who, simply because most of their clothes are shredded tatters at this point. But one of the werewolves yells as you pass, Palark promised us flesh. Where is it?
I mean, Halark isn't here, so you would have to go talk to him about it. I think you got screwed over in that deal, buddy.
Sounds like you got us a liar. Bye!
Inspiration to you two. And inspiration to Claire and Clangley for building a cork body.
Yay. I'm actually up to 2 inspirations.
I have 3.
I lost count because I think I had inspiration before.
I think you did as well.
We all got one from last episode.
Okay.
You might have 3 then, Wynne.
I do have 3.
Yeah. Everybody might have 3, honestly. I know it's hard to toggle in D&D Beyond for those using it. You might be able to write it in your notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, D&D Beyond doesn't let you stack them.
No. can type notes. I know that's a little annoying, but okay. Just check something. Okay. So, the werewolves kind of thrash against their chains and cages as you all pass, taunting. They say, simply taunting us. The Warforged guard kind of like bangs on the cage, like, no, stop, please stop. But this is rude. What you're doing is rude, werewolves. Yeah, you all continue to walk by, like, fuck off. Checking in on your duties. Everything otherwise is going well here in camp. And they're praying for a quick sunrise. Okay. The night passes uneventfully, so everybody can take a rest.
Yeah.
Although I don't think anybody is missing anything currently. But in the morning,
Everything is on fire.
once again, everything sucks. Now, in the morning, what would you all like to do?
Go check on Maddie.
Okay. So you go over to the werewolf cages. Let's see. You can see Maddie, Dick, Vera, Emerald, and Nick. Dick and Nick. Okay, so I guess it is just 5. The 5 of them, they've been given clean clothes that they've all changed into. And at this point, the Warforged is unshackling them, letting them out. Maddie nods at you, Issa, and says, well, at least it kept folks safe.
It's an odd situation, but this is kind of an unprecedented. It's unprecedented, so to be expected.
Don't suppose you managed to find any answers in the process?
It's hard to describe. I felt more in control this time.
It is good.
But there's still just this rage thrashing. I feel it less this morning than I did in the aftermath of last time. It feels, when they're in charge, it feels like I'm running through a maze, trying to get back to myself. But I never had much time for the gods back home, but it's got something to do with Palark. He said it was a bargain come due, and he seems to be enjoying it.
No. You're continuing to gain coherence in the process, then I'd rather not wait a month for answers, but eventually might be able to be coherent enough to ask him for some.
Either that, or we could try gathering Wolfsbane. Maybe with the silver shekels and the Wolfsbane, there's enough stuff to stop you from going completely feral. And then you can maybe take control. Either that, we gotta track down a god and kill him.
I do like that answer, I'm not going to lie.
Wouldn't be the first time. She says that because it fits both the party and the setting. She said, she kind of nods, being like, "Yeah, maybe it was the silver, more silver in Wolfsbane, maybe, yeah." She looks over at the other folks. She says, "I don't think some of them fared as well." Emerald is putting their gun belt back on, and they kind of just walk away, like uninterested in this. They seem pretty serious, but let's see. Nick's kind of like rubbing their face a lot and looking at everyone a little hungrily, you'd say.
Nick, do we have to have a talk?
Don't know what you mean.
It's against company policy to eat your coworkers.
You wouldn't think that would need to have been a company policy before then, but it surprisingly was.
He very unconvincingly says, "I've never eaten anybody before, though, so..."
We know that's not the case, Nicholas. We know.
I'm not proud. I don't like this. But he makes it feel good, I guess. Like, so you want to keep doing it.
I don't know how to treat werewolf addiction. I am not a guidance counselor.
Look, I think it kind of puts your mind in an altered state. You're not really... I mean, you are you, but you're like an angry you. That makes sense.
He says, "Yeah, no, I mean, it just, and for lack of a better term, it was like getting high." 420 episode. Nailed it.
We got there. We all enjoy imbibing things and making ourselves feel good, but when those things start hurting other people, then we have a problem. Especially the whole...
Things are hurting other people.
Yeah.
Them. Like, don't eat other people.
I know. Like intellectually, I know. Like obviously. But... I guess I'm just not as strong as Matilda or Emerald. Or... It feels like it would be so much easier to just fucking rage.
Yeah. Then maybe we need to have something for you guys to rage at the next full moon. Maybe we can get like a big log or like find some sort of dead animal you guys can just pound on until...
Pumpkin full of raw meat, some sort of enrichment activity.
Okay.
Have them set a couple of Kong balls in the next shipment.
We'll put peanut butter in them, they'll be fine.
Oh boy.
This whole thing is a process that you guys are involved in is for your benefit as well as it is ours, so... If your time in the Silver Shackles is not to your liking, please feel free to give us feedback.
I feel bad because we don't really have a choice but to do this because they seem to keep eating people.
Representative. It's not working. No, he says, obviously I think it's best if we continue the shackles. I'm just trying to talk it out, and it's just...
Yeah.
Maybe it's better if I go home.
Well, it might fix things, or it might make things worse. Because we know this thing unlocks when you came down to the planet. But we don't know if it's gonna stop when you go back.
He looks immediately, defeated. That had never occurred to him.
Wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't know much about lycanthropy.
I mean, you won't be able to see the moon anymore, but you're still... It seems like a thing that's, if it's a bargain, once a bargain is done, I don't think there's a take-back option.
Depends on the nature of the bargain, because it might have always been in place, but because they were down here, it never changed. Me being up there, it could be everyone that's up there, well, the humans and half-humans up there. Do we have any experts on bargains or packs of otherworldly types? Do we have a warlock in the crew?
Yes. Nameless.
It's either that or ask my family again.
You could, and you certainly could. But there is a warlock on the crew. Their name is Gomer. They are a halfling. And they are a... Ooh. They're a great old one, warlock.
Oh.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
Oh.
Talk to that guy.
Okay, yeah. So you go find Gomer.
You're either really, really good at this, or about to just start speaking in every language and no language all at the same time when we ask you questions.
So, Gomer is, he's just a worker, among the camp. So you go and you find him, as a halfling. He's wearing just sort of, dirty coveralls that he kind of has half on. So I think Issa kind of dresses like this too, where it's like Ripley from Or I might be thinking of a different character for Issa's sake. But it's like Ripley. It's like half their coveralls, and then the top half is like tied around their waist, and they're wearing kind of a singlet, like a white kind of vest, shirt, undershirt. There we go. They see you approaching, and he spits, and he says, "My shift doesn't start for another half an hour."
Might be a bit of an unusual question. How many languages can you speak or read?
Man, I can read all of them. Let's see, Awakened Mind. Oh yeah, I can't really speak all languages, but I can communicate with pretty much everybody. I'm useful to have on most work crews.
I mean, that's pretty good. We're kind of wondering, how well do you know how bargains and pacts work?
He says, "I know how to get into lots of debt. I owe a lot of people and a lot of things, a lot of stuff."
Well, how about... Well, I'll level with you, Gomer. We're kind of trying to help the people, like, help the werewolf problem. And we're wondering, like, because apparently at some point in the distant past, somebody made a bargain with a god that now a lot of the humans on our world are now, subject to becoming werewolves if they're on the planet. So we were wondering if they just went home, then would they stop being werewolves, or is it at a... What's going on with that?
Kind of leans back and he thinks for a second and he goes, "Yeah, they were all humans." That's weird.
Right?
It is pretty weird. That's why we were wondering if there was, like, something going on.
He puts a new piece of like tobacco chew in his mouth. Then he like forgets to chew it. It's kind of like hanging out. And he's thinking and thinking, and he says, "Well, oh boy. Huh. I mean, it's hard to tell without knowing exactly what their bargain is, but I can't... If they came here and it triggered here, it might be location specific. Who'd they make the bargain with?"
Hey, Lark?
Oh. Okay. And somewhere in the past, humans did this.
As far as we can tell, yes.
I'm not a human, so,
Huh. He says, "I've never heard of a pact quite like that. It's usually one-on-one, soul for something. Not an entire group of people's lineage." Huh. Unless it's like one person and all of their... like one common ancestor kind of thing. Even that's like... That's weird.
Perhaps the moon was initially settled by lycanthropes. And there just aren't any other humans on there. It's like the only humans that ever lived on that moon, and we're just always lycanthropes, but it's been latent because they've been too close to the moon for it to actually trigger something.
Because they can't see the moon, the full of it.
I mean, they could look down, but...
Yeah, but then you can't see it all at once.
It's full of it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was part of it.
He shrugs. He doesn't really know how werewolves work.
I only learned what werewolves were a couple weeks ago, so...
He says, let me, I can do some research. I can ask some questions. I'm not gonna like the answers. Hold on. He concentrates for a minute. Kind of clearly he's thinking really hard. And he snaps back too. Kind of like shivers all over like he's got goosebumps. No, that's going to cost me. And he says, I think if they go home, the bargain's null there. It's important here for some reason.
There's probably some moral undertones to kicking off all the humans from this colony, if I'm being quite frank.
Oh, I didn't say right or wrong. I'm just saying they won't be a werewolf up there. We locked them up. That worked. It's only one day a month. I mean...
This feels like a no-good option scenario.
Currently there are none, but they have the option to go home if they want.
Yeah, so it's more of a choice thing. Yeah.
I mean, if it's a curse, is it a curse or a bargain?
They keep saying bargain.
Yeah. It sounds like propaganda. Sounds like curse propaganda, if you know what I mean.
A little bit sounds like curse propaganda. Look, maybe what we do is, in the morning, we do a survey or something. We have to let people in the conscious state choose whether they want to remain here and be bound or return home and just not be. And I guess there's also the situation is what happens after people kind of figure out that humans can't come to the moon without turning into gross werewolf monsters. No offense.
Yeah, I don't think like Hugh Greene's gonna like that. Like at all.
Hi, boss. Welcome to the planet. We have to stick you in a cage once a month. Oh, I actually delight in that idea.
You don't know. He's a weird billionaire.
They are into cages.
Yeah, maybe he'll love being a giant rage dog. I don't know.
I see though, like you mix. Look, if lycanthropy turns perfectly normal, happy, well-adjusted people into raving monsters, I am a little bit scared what it would do to someone like Greene, who I would never impugn the character of. Obviously, I would never.
No, we would never
impugn.
Officially, I would
ever say anything bad. But I mean, we're all union, right?
I did. Look, I may have included a non-disclosure agreement in exchange for an extra week of vacation.
Extra week of vacation.
I know.
Extra week of vacation is nice, though. I mean.
But also, how are you going to use it if we're on a planet?
It's paid vacation.
Yeah, you don't really get shore leave. You get sick days. You still have to work, but you get them.
You see, we don't really get sick.
Perfect.
We actually have we have sick days, but
okay.
No one uses them.
Yeah. Gomer starts chewing his tobacco again. you can hear a whistle in the distance, like it's the Flintstones. And he says, that's my shift, but if I think of anything, I'll come get you.
Please do. You've been very helpful.
Thank you, Gomer.
Kind of tips his
Gomer, we really do appreciate it.
tips his hard hat. Starts to head towards the mine. Kind of keeps stroking his chin, like, interesting. Okay. Is there anything anyone would like to do before we wrap up? Okay. When you all return to camp, kind of returning to your active duties, Commander Crawford says she has another mission for you, which we will start next episode. And you have to go even further than last time in a different direction to send another beacon, because soon they are going to build a second base camp further out. They're going to start to increase the kind of the grid, basically. So you've got this camp, the base relay at the one crashed drop jammer, and the base relay at the other crashed drop jammer. They're going to try and create basically a rhombus out of that with all these points. So you all have to go to another location. So we will do that next time. So outros and plugs, Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan. You can catch me at dan.dan. Don't actually go to... What is dan.dan? Don't go to dan.dan.
I wouldn't be surprised if .dan was website suffix, but
Maybe like it's I don't know, Danish or something.
No, it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as .dan.
Buy it, Dan. Make it and then buy it.
Funnily enough, what? Oh,
buy it.
Funnily enough, Dan.com sells domain names. It's actually quite funny.
Use Dan.com to buy Dan.dan.
Yeah, there you go.
I might.
It's
just going to be like a low-res JPEG of me giving a thumbs up. That's the whole website.
Better than a lot of websites out there.
Yeah, that's the perfect website. I visit every day.
It needs to have a click counter.
Hit counter, right?
It is a click counter. It's got like 4 widgets that were made in the late 90s.
And
just a low-res JPEG of Dan, and then like a little dancing banana. Anyways, I don't have a plug.
It's formatted for a 4x3 screen, so it looks real weird on modern displays.
Just starts blaring music as soon as you go there, and you got to try and find the pause button.
It's Hamster Dance, but like sped up even more.
The perfect website, Dan. Create it.
Exactly, the perfect, horrible website.
Liz.
I'm Liz. I will plug playing games with your friends. It's super fun, and you get real weird, and things go down, and you have to talk about bargains and how curses work with halflings. So yeah.
Your friend maybe made a Daloon's monster. Don't worry about it.
In 200 years, they'll just call it Daloon, and people argue about it on the internet, and it's fine. Language evolves. Speaking of Daloon, Mira.
Sometimes you make a character because you think the idea is going to be cool, and then it just snowballs into existential atrocity after existential atrocity, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is something that you have to deal with. Also, I just realized that Claire is just like a more cursed version of Alphonse from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, so I will plug watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. You might find some parallels. And also play D&D with your friends.
does mean Claire is eventually going to get to punch God in the face, and I cannot wait.
There's precedent on these streams. Jay.
Play a D&D with your friends. Punch God in the face.
Yeah. I feel like I say this every week. Well, one, I echo what everyone said, including the greatest website that we have created, Dan.Dan. I feel like I say this every week. It's scary out there for lots of different people for lots of different reasons.
Yeah.
Try and make it better for someone you love. Give them a hug, say hi, ask how they're doing. And maybe play a game with your friends and it'll feel a little better for 2 hours. And that's good too. Coming up next week is Star Chasers. Dragon Lords is off for a little bit because of all the holidays, Sunday holidays in the spring. And then coming up in a couple Mondays, the 2nd is Sassy and Classier back. And the week after that, so the 9th, Blackout in Crater Valley Part 2. So that's it. Have a good night, everybody.